Hey guys, MooJK here. Just wanted to talk about the upcoming banner, and hopefully I can make this quick because my voice is not going to hold up. Still sick, so why don't we go ahead and discuss the Final Fantasy Crystal Defenders banner. So this is a limited time only banner that has some interesting units. So if you are kind of like a, collect them all kind of guy, or you like having units that are different from everybody else's, then this might be the banner for you. In a nutshell, I think this is a good banner for beginners, possibly up to intermediate players, but none of these units are elite. They're not terrible either, so why don't we go into some of the broader details here. So Fencer is probably the best unit out of this out of the three. She has really strong base attack, 120, and has a pretty decent Trustmaster reward, as you can see here. Nothing amazing that you'd want to like prioritize over a barrage or dual wield kind of trust mastery, but in the long run, who knows? It could be useful. Juggler, a similar type of trust master reward. This one is more magic based, and the base attack is actually still pretty good on Juggler here, 111. And Thief is again, pretty good base attack. Trustmaster reward is trash, so don't even bother. And we'll go into some of the more finer details right now. Now, this is from the wiki, and this is possibly not 100% correct because it is unreleased content and everything. So take it with a grain of salt, but you're seeing what I'm seeing. So Fencer, for instance, here they have the statistics wrong. The base attack should be 120, not 100, but even so, we'll get a pretty general, good idea. So Fencer is able to equip daggers, regular short sword type of things, and it looks like katanas. So pretty good weapon selection there. A lot of good armors. The learned abilities are all pretty decent. None of them are barrage level, but we'll see. Swarm Strike is kind of a spell blade ability that poisons. Early on in the game, with some of the earlier bosses, poison was very important because that was kind of your primary source of DPS actually. But as the later bosses came out, more and more of them are immune. So again, this is another reason why I think it's good for beginners, and not so much for late game, end game players. Attack plus 20 is a good passive, obviously. Blind can be useful for certain fights. Piercing Blow is a very respectable attack. 2.1 is not barrage level, which is 3.2, but for a 4-star character at this point at least, it's a pretty good attack. So once Fencer turns 5 stars, she gets more of these decent abilities. Checkmate is very situational. I mean, you're not going to be able to instant KO a boss. So if you're running up against a tough regular enemy, it could come in useful, but not something I'd be using a lot. Mana Strike. This is basically a stronger version of Armor Break. Reduces defense by 30%. All these Armor Break, Power Break type of abilities, by the way, are useless if you have Full Break. But compared to the regular versions of Power Break and Armor Break and Magic Break, these new characters are generally going to have better versions of those. Swallowtail is pretty much exactly like Blade Blitz, 1.4 to all enemies, which is very useful. Darkness Veil can be useful for upcoming darkness-based bosses, maybe like a Diablos. Concentrate. I don't know what they mean by negate 1 damage taken for 3 turns. Obviously, it's not like a 1 HP thing. That would be horrible. So we'll have to see what happens exactly, but it does increase attack by 40%. I don't know if that stacks with Cheer. It might not, but it could be a useful skill otherwise. And Blade Master, very good passive here. Increase attack 30% when equipped with swords. And the Limit Burst is very good too. AoE plus it's like, oh no, I'm sorry, it's not AoE. It's one enemy. Kind of like an armor break / physical damage. So yeah, it's okay, but it's not great. It's kind of like on the barrage level, I would say. because of the reduced defense, kind of makes up for the multiplier difference. But yeah, good, not great. Now let's go to Juggler. Now, the biggest problem with Juggler is the lack of equipment. Juggler is only able to equip daggers and thrown weapons. So, unless you have Locke's Trust Mastery, Rising Sun, there's really not going to be any good equipment for Juggler, which is kind of a shame because Juggler has some decent abilities here. Acrobatics, I don't know. I would never use that probably. Provoke is actually kind of interesting because, as you know, if you have a 2-star golem, you can unlock this on the grid, and it makes them become a tank. But I don't know. I don't know if you'd want a Juggler to do that. I mean, he is able to equip some armors, I guess. So if you don't have any other tanking options, or you don't have your golem to 2 stars yet, it could possibly come in handy. Charm to one enemy, kind of situational. Remove status ailment. These are kind of, situational abilities. Now, Rain of Knives is what caught my eye the best. 5 physical damage, 3x to random enemy. And this would basically be like a slightly weaker version of Barrage. Would be very intriguing if Juggler could equip better weapons. So, again, if you have Locke's Trust Mastery somehow, and you don't have another good Barrage user or something like that, I don't know, how many people would be in that situation. This is a very good ability. Healing Smile is kind of like an Isuna, which is really nice. And Rolling Ball, I'm not a big fan of magic damage on these kind of hybrid characters. It doesn't look like it's terribly strong. Consecutive damage increase to one enemy. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you use it over and over, it could... I don't know how the multiplier changes. So, Limit Burst. This seems like a pretty nice one. It's AoE. 2.5 and reduce all elemental resistances. So if you're kind of coupled with Mage, you'd be doing good AoE plus reducing resistance to make them hit harder. So, pretty good limit break here. But again, the biggest problem with Juggler is the weapon selection. Now with Thief, there's also some interesting abilities, not quite as good as the other 2 units, I think. But Thief is able to use swords, so that's good. Steel, pretty typical stuff. If you have a Zidane and a Locke, by the way, this unit obviously becomes a lot less intriguing, but it still has some interesting stuff. Steel HP, for example, Steel Time. These are kind of like what you would expect from like a Record Keeper or Final Fantasy Tactics type of thief abilities. So, situationally useful. Again, we have a triple attack here. We have another Barrage type of ability, 3x. Again, not quite 3.2, but considering that Thief actually has decent weapon choices, I believe that sword thing means that, the Thief could equip Enhancer. So if you have Enhancer and for whatever reason Thief happens to be your best attacker, triple attack, it's basically a Barrage. So, yeah, I think it's really good. Bandit, double success rate of stealing, kind of like Zidane, where he's able to steal a lot easier. Steal MP, and then Mercy Stroke. Physical damage and reduce attack to one enemy, so this is an improved version of Power Break with the multiplier and the 30%. Again, if you have Full Break, you wouldn't be using this kind of stuff, but if you don't have Full Break, it could be useful. Negate 3 damage taken for 1 turn to all allies. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds pretty decent, assuming it's not 3 HP. So we'll see if it, when it comes out, what it actually means. But it sounds like it's going to be some kind of protective thing for your party. So could be intriguing. But anyway, that's my opinion. And, you saw the facts here on the wiki. I wouldn't call them facts. They could be wrong. But you're seeing what I'm seeing. They're all pretty decent units, and if you're a beginner, you don't have a team full of Barrage users and powerful mages, these units could be pretty good for you. The biggest thing for me, or the biggest factor I think in deciding whether to pull is, are you set in your party? If you are, you don't need to pull at all. If you are a beginner, then it kind of comes down to how good the pull rates are. If all of these units have like a good pull rate, like a 10% or something like that, then it could definitely help you out and get you to the end game. If it turns out that they're all hard to pull because they are base 4 stars, then it wouldn't be worth it, because you'd be, hoping, pulling on a banner with low rates without like elite long-term payoff. So we'll see when it comes out, but my guess is that the pull rates are going to be pretty decent, and the units themselves are decent. So unless you're really high level end game, elite units all around, there's some stuff here to check out when they come out. Of course, we're going to verify that this information is correct, but yeah, I just wanted to give you all the information up front that is currently available, and we can all decide when it actually comes out, and make the best decision. Anyway, rambling, and I'll stop here, and I'll see you guys next time.